Would you be cool reading this? You might recognize it.
That is a fact. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain, when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm is all about. That's a fact. When I came across that quote, man, it was a perfect time for me to see it.
3rd and 9. Saints bring pressure again. Brady complete and a big hit over the middle. And Godwin is down. Took a shot there as he was coming across the middle. And Brady's right over there, first guy to check on his wide receiver.
Understanding that a tough road was ahead and understanding that, man, like you might not have asked for this. It's like, this is where we are. And the task might seem daunting. It might seem like it's impossible. But it reminded me to have faith in not only myself, but have faith that what's on the other side of the storm, sunshine. Typical day for me, going through the rehab process that I'm going through. I'm up at 7:30, leave the house by like 8:15, and then I go to the building and I do my rehab there. Rehab at this point is like a workout. It's like off-season training. I've never been through anything like this before, so I never knew what to expect. I never knew how I should really approach it.
I want you to exaggerate that leg through.
When I go into these workouts, I'm just like, all right, how do I get better today? How do I get 1% better? How do I be the best CG? I really try to be present because I can't control anything next week or next month. I can only control what I'm doing right now. Having that frame of mind has really helped me focus on the exercise that I'm doing, especially during the rehab process. It's very easy to look too far out, but it's like staying grounded and just like, we're gonna get better today.
Hey, the eucalyptus oil in the sauna, opened me right up. I like that. I might have to steal that one. I left, I said, damn, I can breathe.
Today, from my training session, got to work with our strength coaches on a bunch of different things. Started with some hands-on stuff, fleshing out whatever swelling may be there and really priming the knee to get ready to move. Do a little bit of light stretching. Then I got on the bike, and then after spinning on the bike for a little bit, we get to our ground-based warm-up. Different sets of jumps, different types of warm-up sprints, lateral running, a mixture of workouts to prep me to go run. Today specifically, we add in like a new element to it where we're cutting.
What you got?
As opposed to just running straight line conditioning.
Yep.
And that focuses on my ability to last throughout the course of a game or the course of a season.
Good, there we go. Finish it, finish it. Perfect. You wanna take it off?
That's what I like to hear. I want to get rid of it as fast as possible.
Good. Get that left glute firing. There it is.
And then we'll come in and do the lift, whether it's upper body or lower body. Rehab at this point is less manual therapy and more, it's like a workout. It's like an off-season training.
Good. Everything's locked in. Glutes engaged. Breathe, relax your face. Lock it in. Push.
I was talking about how wild the music is in here.
Oh, yeah. You never know what's going to pop in or out.
Somebody came in through some opera on one time. Can't lift to that.
La donna è mobile, qual piuma al vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero.
I don't really do upper body too much these days. That's not where the focus is. We gotta have strong legs, gotta be able to run forever.
The Messiah.
The Messiah.
Everyone got that? I mean, you are the Messiah.
Going through the rehab process that I'm going through. It's little victories, but it's things that you might have taken for granted before. So post-surgery, your muscles atrophy. and you don't have control over them. So the very first thing that you look forward to is trying to have some kind of control over your quad, over your leg. And then beginning of week 2, weight bearing. And then after weight bearing, a couple weeks later is walking, and that's a big milestone for you. And there's a bunch of those little milestones, like for the first month, now I'm riding a bike, and then you're building the strength in your leg, focusing on having your quad and your glutes strong enough to really support your knee. And then the next big milestone after that is running. And you start in like an anti-gravity treadmill and then progress to the field. And then there's a big stretch between when you run to when you start cutting. There's a long period of time where you're really building like your strength and your foundation, fine-tuning your movements to really be able to support your decel, and you kind of put all the pieces together. The people that I have around me to support me through this process have been crucial. Our strength coaches like MJ and AP, they have been the ones that have been spearheading my rehab, and they're not only giving me the support in the movements and make sure that I'm doing it properly, but really pushing me. And they know that I'm gonna put the work in. They know I wanna be the best that I can be, so like they're just guiding. So they've been really helpful.
But you know what's been super cool watching you? Like, you approach it every day like it's game time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's why, I've told you this before, being able to work with someone who, with your mindset is a gift.
I appreciate that.
So you've come a long way. You know the process when it comes to the physical, the mental, like you know the process. It's just rinse and repeat. And then now the injury gave you the blessing of the reflect.
Yeah.
You know, Chris is a guy that if he hears there's something that can make him 1% better on the field or off the field, he's going to do it.
I'm grateful for the work that we've done. I'm grateful for a lot of the time like that I've spent working on, you know, my mental strength, and all of the things that I had been doing over the course of the last couple of years has really prepared me to handle the adversity that I faced through this.
Once he got the first experience of doing some of the neurophysiology techniques that we use with cheat code, he goes, oh, okay.
Obviously, there's a stigma around mental health, but like, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be broken to want to better yourself, to better your mental. And that was kind of like the approach when I started working with Dr. Mondo.
So the basis for everything that we do comes down to a neurophysiological principle known as contraction and expansion. We all have moments where we experience contraction in our body, times where our muscles tighten up, times where things become constricted. That's our body going into a protective state. It's a state of survival. In contrast to that, we have moments of expansion, moments where things in our body become loose, our field of vision, instead of shrinking, it expands. Those are moments that we would call flow states. When I'm meeting with Chris, the task becomes very clear. Chris, there are moments that you've gone through in this week that you rather not remember. There was a dropped pass. There was a time where you had an opportunity and you were open, and there was frustration because your quarterback didn't see you. All those moments create contraction. So what we're looking to do for Chris in this moment is break that pattern of contraction so that his body can integrate that memory to help release that contraction. So Chris, I want you to think of the moment where the ball came your way. You saw it, but for whatever reason, you dropped it. Feel what it feels like to even think about that. Now, he's listening to music in this setup. The music is bilateral. So what that means is it pans from one ear to the other in an unrecognizable pattern. What that's doing is it's triggering waking REM state, essentially. When we go into deep sleep, we go into a state of REM. Our brain gets an opportunity to start resolving the unresolved. So you go back to that moment with Chris, contraction in the body. I feel it in my shoulders. I feel it in my stomach. Okay, the feeling's getting more intense. Okay, Chris, let's just trust your brain knows what to do. Let's put it in a situation where it can heal itself by simply leaning in to the contraction. The way to it is through it. So we'd let as much of that resolve as possible, but we would also spend some time with him on expansion. Okay, Chris, now I want you to think of a time where you were so locked in and trusting yourself, where you felt unstoppable. Feel that in your body. Notice how that feels. What we're doing in those moments is we're inviting Chris to think of a room in his brain where his best performances lie. And the more time he spends in the room, the more his brain will become programmed on how to get back there and how to sustain periods of getting back there.
Deep drop here, Brady down the middle, it's caught for the touchdown.
It was about me trying to figure out how to be the best me, how to handle adversity better. The work that we had put in, I think ultimately ended up paying dividends well before my injury. For instance, our playoff run, my first playoff game, had a couple catches, touchdown in the first half.
Brady to Godwin.
We gotta get a touchdown.
Brady dropping, throwing, approach, on ball, Chris Godwin, touchdown Tampa Bay.
Yes, sir, let's go.
And then for whatever reason, it spiraled. Had a couple drops. And then it turned into like a confidence thing of like, man, like, don't drop the ball, as opposed to like the confidence that I normally carry.
We gotta change that.
But the work that we had put in allowed me to respond, have 100 yards in the NFC Championship game, and the game sealing play to send us to the Super Bowl.
Bucks are gonna win this football game.
Let's go, man. We're going home, bro. We're going home. One more. One more home, bro. We're going home.
Here comes Mahomes. Trying to find the end zone, and no. How about that?
Bucks are gonna beat the Chiefs.
After winning the Super Bowl, all the families coming on the field, and me and my wife find each other.
Let's go!
She comes, jumps in my arms, and we just share this moment.
Oh my God.
I got to experience the joy of helping get us to the Super Bowl and then winning one and sharing that with the person that's seen this whole thing throughout my entire career. That kind of drives me because I want that feeling again. I think I'm very happy with where I'm at so far in this process, and I think that like whatever the next step holds, I'm gonna be ready for it. With this rehab process, I'm doing so much and putting out so much effort that by the time I get to the end of the day, I'm pretty spent. And so being able to come home to not only my wife, but our 2 dogs, or they're like our kids, it really keeps me going. They're always there for me, and like that love and support is, man, it's invaluable, man. I'll spend some time, maybe like 2 hours before bed, just winding down. I'll meditate, or I'll just like breathe, feel a little more grounded. I track my sleep data just to try to see where I'm at. Like my sleep number matches that I had has really helped me with that. The early process of recovery, it was interesting because I was in Pensacola for 2 weeks post-op. Like I had to sleep with a brace on, so I was limiting my movements. So when I finally got back to my bed, oh man, I slept like a baby. Sleep is incredibly important. It's a time that your body uses to recover. And in this process, like that's what I'm trying to get back to. Like that's what I need to do to be a high-level elite athlete. Sleeping well and being well rested, you have to prioritize those things. You know, when I get my sleep and have a good sleep schedule, I'm quicker with my thoughts, quicker with my reaction times, but also just like feel better. It's part of the full body approach, is trying to keep everything in line, make sure that everything's operating on all cylinders.
Chris Godwin, who has been battling his recovery from an ACL and more tear. Rehab has gone incredibly well, but really has not been on the practice field. Was on the practice field today. The fact that Chris Godwin was able to get on the practice field and do that is an extremely, extremely good sign for Tampa Bay. All signs pointing in a positive direction there.